it brings us actually to what you focus on. And before we discuss it in more detail, was there like a specific moment that led you to focus on this or on this niche? If I'm not mistaken, it was a situation with your daughter. Or for the audience who don't know, can you please tell us how it started? Basically, your focus on this area.
Yeah. I trace back my work to an experience I had with my kid. So both of my daughters are neurodivergent, and my oldest has dyslexia and dyscalculia. And I was homeschooling both of them because I live in a rural area and the school here really couldn't do for them what they needed to do. And so my oldest, we had her evaluated and she was, behind on all kinds of measures, behind on math. She couldn't really spell. She had what they call slow processing. So it takes her just longer to do things than the average person. And, being the type A parent that I am, I kind of pushed and pushed and pushed until I made her cry. I kept thinking that, she wouldn't succeed in life altogether unless she somehow managed to meet sixth grade standards or whatever they were for that year. And I just finally, once she kind of broke down, I realized that, like, whose standards are these? Like, I started to question the standards, like behind, what is she behind? Is she behind compared to what? You could argue that any person is exactly where they belong at any given time, especially a child. And she was kind of being pushed to meet standards that had nothing to do with her strength, who she was as a person. And so I started to kind of question that line and kind of reformed how we educated my daughter. She is very successful by all measures now. She actually spoke at Oxford at the dyslexia conference. She right now is an ambassador for the US government in Germany. So she, over time has been very successful. She will go to college, but probably, a few years later than most kids. But I don't ultimately in the long run, I don't see how that would matter. But just questioning those standards is something that I've started to do again and again. So I just see it with all kinds of people. Like, we're measuring ourselves up against lines that we never really wanted. They were either given to us by our parents or social media or school or whatever, and this idea, people always feel like they're behind because there's this hustle culture and there's this, you got to move fast, and, and these ideas that keep getting perpetuated online, are doing people some harm. People are feeling like a failure. They give up too easily. They don't understand that a lot of things take longer to build than you're being told on Instagram. Those, I made $1 million in 30 days, formulas are usually lies, or it's like the 1 in a million person who actually pulled it off. So I feel like I'm a bit of the countercultural message. So I use that when I work with founders as well as students that I work with, because I think, questioning those lines and understanding what we're really trying to get at in the long run is something that people don't always stop and take the time to do.
I only agree with what you said, because I also feel like that, especially now with social media, when you see people mostly sharing just the highs and the wins and the successes, but you don't see the whole picture. You don't know what's behind it. You don't even know if it's true, because it can be made up. You don't know even the context. So I'm glad that there is someone who speaks about this. And I can just say that I wish it was different as well. And although I try to keep that in mind, sometimes, of course, I somehow compare myself to others as well. So for me, it's also a helpful reminder that you never see the whole picture and you don't know the context either of that person or of that situation.
Yeah. And what I've built by all measures has been slow in my business, because I just have other things in my life that I have to, I have 2 kids that I homeschool. I have parents that I care for. I kind of live in a rural, isolated area, which makes some things difficult. And so there's, a number of things in my life that I have to choose, or I choose above my work. And so I have to accept that I'm going to do it at a different pace than somebody who has a different background, lifestyle, financial situation, all of that.
It's a great point. And now, for example, as you say that, because first I've been following you for some time, I also done some research before the recording. And when I was, for example, reading about what you do on your website, I thought, wow, she achieved a lot. She does so many things, whether it's the titles or the services you provide. And at the same time, I can see that on LinkedIn, for example, you also share experience from your life or experiences and, I don't know, trips and stuff like that. So I thought that you've got it, planned really well, and now you say that also you need to prioritize, do sacrifices. So again, for people from the outside who don't know what's the whole picture, they might think one thing, but they don't see what is it like actually. So it was a great point.
Yeah, yeah. And I do feel some of the success stories that people are seeing online, you're not seeing things that are behind the scenes as well that are advantages. People who have, a wealthy parent, or there's all kinds of advantages that people are not necessarily being open about in their social media feeds either. And then, someone else is looking at them saying, why can't I be like them? And it's because, you're just coming from a different set of circumstances, right? And
Yeah. And also, as you approach this coaching work from such angle or from such perspective, to me, it's something that I haven't really seen on LinkedIn, or maybe it's there, I just haven't noticed, or I don't remember. So I find it unique. So can you be maybe a bit more specific, like how you approach work with people from this type of perspective? Because as I said, I find it unique. You've got a lot of people as a coaches or people working with others, but when it's different, when it's something that I feel like can deliver some value, I'm curious to find out more if you can share more.
yeah, yeah. Often what I walk people through, of course, is, we start with, what are your goals and where you're headed. But before we go into building a plan, we question those goals, right? Like, where did they come from? Are they yours? Are they actually something, do those goals, fit your life? Again, depending on what your background life circumstances are, like, you need to fit them. And sadly, as a loving parent, more often than not, people's goals are coming often from their parents and not from them. So
I thought
that's a
so.
big piece of it. A lot of it is coming, from social media and pressure from, peers and social media. So I take a lot of time of walking people through, what is their ultimate goal? I have to make 7 figures by 35 or whatever, just these random lines that I think everybody has. Or 20K months seems to be something that I keep hearing about constantly online.